Hello, I'm Martijn Gaat and this is Does Logistics Matter, a podcast on trends and innovations in supply chain and logistics. Answering yes to the question today is Chief Sales Officer Gianni Maes of Redspher. In this episode, we talk about challenges and changes in the industry, trends in road freight in Europe with a focus on time-sensitive freight, and the role of digitalization and platforms. Please enjoy my conversation with Gianni Maes. Gianni, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, Martijn, for having me.
Gianni, the first question in this podcast is always, does logistics matter?
Oh, that's a surprise question, isn't it? I think it absolutely does. I think till a couple of years ago, nobody ever asked the question, how does the material I have in my house, how does it get here?
Yeah.
I think, however, over the last 18 months, each of us in our private lives have lived a situation where we wanted to buy something and it wasn't there.
Yeah.
So I do think that people have started realizing there's a whole machinery behind it that is facing some challenges. Next to that, what we've seen during the COVID is that the e-commerce, which saw an extreme boom, have actually recognized that logistics and transportation are levers for them to generate a higher customer experience and satisfaction. So, yep, I'm absolutely convinced logistics matters.
Good. That's I like that answer. How did you yourself end up in logistics?
Well, I'm going to start really way back. I'm going back to 1993, where I was without a job, and the interim office, the temp agency, sent me to work in a warehouse in the port of Antwerp. And I was amazed because a port is a city on its own. Today we're in Rotterdam. I feel the vibe of a port activity. Then again, I'd always been fascinated by people, by customers, by serving. So I moved on to a customer service position within the industry, finally ending up in 1998 in a sales role in the time-critical market, working for a company called Roberts Express.
Yeah.
In 2012, we sold Roberts, company where in the meantime I had become a shareholder through management buyout through the Flash Group. Today the Flash Group is called Redspher. So basically my life has gone past with a blink of the eye over the past 30 years and 25 years in the time sensitive industry.
Well, I guess if you work in logistics, your your life flashes by without you realizing it, because it's very busy, it's very hectic, and there's always something happening.
Oh, absolutely. I always start my day with an agenda, a plan, because I really think that not having a plan is not a good thing. I never tend to stick to it because every day something new happens, needs my intervention or my immediate attention, and it's just great. I would say that my job has become my hobby. I love it.
Yeah, no, well, it's for me it's the same. Yeah, absolutely. I just love logistics, and for me, you said you started working in the warehouse, and it was the same for me. I always used to say, if I see really high walls with almost no windows, I wanna go inside and I wanna check it out, see the people, and it's getting much more interesting with all the technology, the software capabilities, but also in terms of hardware. We have robots, self-driving trucks, drones. It's getting more interesting every day. So you already mentioned some of the trends that we have been seeing in the past 18 months. If you look at transportation in Europe, what are the main trends that you see?
Well, if we always have adapted our approach to the market by talking a lot to our customers, and something strange for somebody who has a forwarding background is that we see shippers and carriers as our customers. We continuously talk to them. And if I would have to say that there are three main movements that we recognize in the European market. First of all, as a post-COVID lesson, we clearly see a re-regionalization of the supply chain. After many years of globalizing the supply chain, during COVID, everybody was confronted with disruption of the supply chain, because when suppliers were open and were able to deliver, we were closed, and by the time we were producing again, they were closing again. Many of our shippers today are really considering the re-regionalization of the supply chain for continuity reasons, but also for sustainability reasons. A second clear trend that we see stems also back from the lockdown period, when the e-commerce industry saw an extreme boom. Is that big e-retailers, and let's mention the name Amazon was the first one, created very agile, flexible, high quality and very customer-centric delivery methodologies. And we believe that they have put the benchmark at such a level that not only for other retailers, but also for industrial shippers for their downstream supply chain, these delivery models will become the benchmark. And then last but surely not least, over the last 18 months, I think that everybody in the industry has lived the polarization of the European road freight market, where on one hand, volumes haven't been amazingly high due to a scarcity of resources and supply disruption. But even with the relatively low volumes in the market, the transportation industry was not always able to meet the demand in terms of capacity. In the meantime, with the Ukrainian conflict, prices of energy were already rising, but have risen tremendously. The supply disruption causing new vehicles, whether it's trucks or vans, they have become way more expensive. Delivery times are getting longer. And we've been confronted, I believe, over the last 18 months with a humongous driver shortage that everybody had seen coming. I think everybody had been living with it for quite a while.
It's been there for years, right?
Exactly. But it all came together last year, and I think to many people in the industry, or many people in the ecosystem, going from a driver all the way to shippers, for many people it's been a bit of a shock.
Apart from companies nearshoring their supply chains, so to say, or you called it regionalizing. What other ways do you see your clients and carriers cope with these trends? What are they doing, or what are they changing?
Well, I do start to see in their standard shipping, I do start seeing our shippers opening up to talking to peers, involving carriers and service providers in 3-4 party discussions, and seeking a collaborative way to meet the challenges that we face. So that is definitely one. Within the industry where we as Redspher are active, which is the time sensitive one, where we know every day the shit is going to hit the fan.
Yes.
But we don't know where, when.
Which fan?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So we're confronted with many of these problematics in the European market, where all shipments are actually unforeseen. And what we have seen there is that after a 20-year trend of trying to industrialize, standardize the exception, because time-sensitive shipping is the exception, we have seen an almost immediate shift from going from a contractual relationship into a transactional relationship. So within time-sensitive shipping, there's been a very immense and immediate move over the last summer into sourcing on a spot basis. And not from a purchasing strategy, but from a capacity and supply chain continuity point of view.
Go a small step back. Could you explain time-sensitive freight.
Yep. In a nutshell, I would call time-sensitive freight that freight that cannot be shipped through standard and network-based transportation solutions, because the goods are either very time critical and need an immediate and same-day delivery. They need to be shipped within very specific time windows where cutoff times, which is one of the key features of a network-based solution, do not offer sufficient flexibility, or it's the conditioning of the goods that do not allow to move through hub and spoke networks.
Yeah, and then the first thing that would come to mind is things like automotive, where they have just-in-time production. That's obviously time sensitive. I could think of the medical industry, like hospitals or pharma, that has a time sensitive shipments. But I'm guessing if you look at what's happening now, I mean, if there's a large group of people that is time sensitive in itself, it's the consumer. So I'm almost thinking that the whole e-commerce flow of goods has almost become a time sensitive flow of freight.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, and time sensitive is not always urgent. Obviously, the e-retailers have deployed models with which you can get a same-day delivery or a next-day delivery within certain time frames. Now, we're a niche player, and in e-commerce, parcel delivery will continue to go through the leading networks. But consumers now have the same delivery expectation, the same flexibility, and the same service expectation for bulky and voluminous goods as well. Yeah. Imagine you go into a large furniture shop and you're super excited with your new purchase, and then you realize, oh my God, it doesn't fit my car. How am I going to get it on the second floor? And my God, I've got a dinner appointment tonight at 9, which I cannot miss. And this is really where time sensitive comes into play, where on a same day, on a next day, or a second day, upon appointment, double manned in-house delivery has become a true market within the market.
Because people want to they don't want to sit at home all day, and they no longer accept that a shipment will be there between 9 and 6.
Oh, absolutely! It's the most frustrating thing there is, isn't it? And this is where I think that this type of time sensitive last mile delivery has been derived from time critical shipping. Because in time critical shipping, an on-time pickup or an on-time delivery fails when you deviate more than 15 minutes from what you agreed with a customer.
And that's a short window, 15 minutes.
It's a very short window. On top of that, within premium freight or urgent transportation worldwide, real-time communication about a confirmation of pickup, a confirmation of delivery, a proactive communication on the ETA is a standard. So all of these things are things that also as a consumer, we expect when we're expecting a delivery. You want to get that little message on your phone saying the driver's on his way. The driver will be there between 9 and 10. So some of these highly specialized same-day urgent time-critical industrial deliveries have formed the basis for high-quality customer-centric delivery models within home delivery.
So what role does digitalization play in this market?
I think that digital has become very important. First of all, the background of every time-sensitive player is a historic past of being a forwarder. And I always compare a forwarder with a travel agency. And I remember my first business trip in 1995. I needed to go to London. I had never flown. God, how am I going to buy a ticket? So I called the travel agency.
Yeah.
They sent me a fax half an hour later, and I thought, wow, what a service.
Yeah.
Today I just use my phone, half a minute, my flight is booked.
Yeah.
So, and we have seen that within time sensitive shipping, you have a variety of reasons why shippers ship their material through our delivery models. You have the ones that are related to production. Very often they are urgent, but next to the urgency, price is very important. Then you have the very specialist deliveries if you need to deliver inside nuclear centers or army bases and so on. Here, it's much more about the confidentiality, the way you treat the material, the fact that you have accredited people who have security clearance, and so on. So there's different needs within that same sector. What we have seen is that digitization has helped a niche industry, because we represent about 3% of the transportation budget of large shippers. So it's really a niche activity.
Okay.
Digitization has helped historically to increase productivity, competitiveness, to take first steps into data and try to see some patterns in exceptional shipping and assisting shippers with optimizing the unexpected. Today we see another shift. Today, after what we have seen over the last 18 months, we feel that the ecosystem, the entire ecosystem is under pressure, because although a part of the driver shortage has to be solved by totally new ways of delivering, collaborative cooperation between shippers and carriers, a part will have to come from re-establishing or making the job of a driver more interesting. And a part of that will have to be with the working conditions we can offer them. The EU has been working for 15, 20 years on trying to create an environment where equal pay for equal work. These legislations were implemented last year, right when everybody was confronted with inflation, everybody was confronted with capacity issues. And on top of that, mobility package full rollout had an additional impact. And because of that, the ecosystem is under pressure. And I think the entire industry has to face the facts that if we want to have agile, last-minute shipping options available throughout Europe on a 24/7 basis, it will cost more than it has done over the last years.
The cost should rise. It's been a race to the bottom.
Exactly. And we believe that everybody in that food chain has to carry responsibility, because we cannot expect, as consumers, that the shippers, those are actually the people we buy product from, that they face the entire increase of that. So we believe that the ecosystem will be redesigned, and for those shipments where forwarders do not add sufficient value added to the process, the forwarder, the middleman, will be pushed out through digital. And digital platforms connecting shippers directly with carriers and making the ecosystem tighter will protect shippers from significantly paying more. Leveraging data, mass data out of fully end-to-end digital processes will allow them to understand their business better, and work on structural redesigns of their supply chain.
Yeah, and I guess also what data like that does is it creates more opportunity for carriers to work together, because I think still the fill rate of trucks in Europe is still ridiculous if you really think about the shortages and the problems that we have.
Oh, absolutely. I wouldn't want to call my peers in the market ridiculous, but I think we're all responsible for this, because if you look on the shipper side, there are still shippers out there who don't want to open up and work with direct peers on synergies and how can we ship smarter, ship more competitive, ship in a more sustainable way. But on the other side, if we look at large service providers, maybe even more so than shippers, we're also still very protective not to show our network and our abilities to our competitors. And that's where a huge mentality change has to come to the market, absolutely.
I heard you say the ecosystem of freight needs to change, or it is changing. How do you see this change?
Well, within the time sensitive shipping, I believe that what the market is after, what shippers are after, is they need to get the ability to determine almost on individual shipment level what the value is they are looking for. Just in a nutshell, if I look at an industrial shipper and his urgent transportation needs related to production, what does he want? He wants to have a very fast insight on all different shipping possibilities, different carriers, compare transit times, compare costs. This is where we at Redspher, we developed a marketplace where we have actually onboarded our historic peers who used to be competitors, who now are partially our customers on our marketplace. Now, the same shipper will have somewhere in the world some R&D centers where shipments have to be organized not by logistics people but by engineers who do not necessarily know that for shipping outside the EU you require customs, whether this prototype actually does need packaging because
you need a crate.
Exactly. So this same shipper for a different department is seeking a same way of working, same way of organizing, same processes, same data sources, while somebody taking ownership and accompanying this non-logistics professional in getting his goods delivered on time and in a good state. In either of these departments, on a 24/7 basis, these shippers also run into situations where on a Saturday night they need to charter an aircraft. Then they don't want a platform. They want to dial a number where somebody says, I'm going to take care.
Don't worry, I'm going to take care of it.
Exactly. And so this is where ecosystems have been designed to standardize. Now, first of all, time-sensitive shipping is already an exception to the standard. And we feel that within time-sensitive shipping, there are some subdivisions. And we want to allow shippers to determine on individual shipping basis, what do I expect from Redspher as a partner? And we want them to be able to navigate through going from manual to digital forwarding to marketplace and just get the best solution out there. And this on individual shipment level.
So there's one word that I heard you mention 2 or 3 times, which is a word that's top of mind currently for sure, and that is sustainability. How does sustainability tie into what you are explaining?
Well, I think that I'm happy you bring this question because sustainability over the last 10 years, in my vision, has been a rather theoretical topic, where large shippers kind of chucked the topic over the fence and said, Mr. Carrier, this is your responsibility. What are you doing? And again, the entire industry, all of us, we can't get away with the theoretical approach anymore. We've been reporting post-organization of transports what the CO2 emissions were. Now, as an organization, we achieved, I think today we have 3 Lean and Green Star Awards. We've got an EcoVadis Gold Medal. So it's always been part of what we're working at. But it's also always based on data, and it's been based on reporting afterwards, audited very often by financial auditors. Today we see a trend where shippers want to cooperate with their service providers. We see a trend that it's not in an Excel table. So we're actually moving this year into SBTI, which is science-based target initiatives. So we'll be working with scientists on developing true projects where scientists say, yep, here you do make structural steps forward. And these are processes we'll be managing together with our shippers.
And you mean in terms of driving down the carbon footprint?
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. And this is also where we think that digital will play an important role. Because as long as a shipper works with a forwarder who, at the time of offering a solution, does not know which vessel or which vehicle is going to carry the material, he cannot differentiate solutions based on carbon footprint. This is where digital, connecting shippers directly with carriers, will allow shippers not only to make selections on transit time, price, but also on CO2 emission in the future. And it becomes a conscious process for everybody in that food chain.
Yeah, it's great to hear that you are enabling the greenification of the time critical or time sensitive freight in this case. If I would ask you to take out your glass ball, your glass ball, as we say in the Netherlands, and look into it and look at what the future will bring us in freight, in time sensitive freight, what do you see?
I think personally, over the next 2 to 4 years, the market will continue to be unstable. If you would have asked me this question in July of last year, I would have given you a different answer than in February of this year. Because last year we had a disbalance between offer and demand going one way than today. Today the market is much slower. And what you can observe in that market is that those parties who are really focused on short-term, the behavior in the market completely changes. When the price went up by 30% in September, it came down by 40% in February because there was not enough freight out there for the already little capacity in the market. What I'm convinced of is that for the next couple of years still, there will be supply disruption. There is a scarcity of resources. So there will be this instability where there will be moments where offer goes up a bit, we cannot respond. Volumes go down again, the market goes crazy in a hunt for freight. So this will stay for a while. What I'm just convinced of is that some of the structural underlying reasons of what happened to us last year, like driver shortage, the driver conditions, energy prices, they've stabilized. They'll never come down again. And it's the same thing with the costs of vehicles. So some of these structural things will not be solved as long as we're in an unstable environment. The structural solutions will only come after. And this is where we as Redspher also put a lot of our focus. We need to be agile in our approach and adapt, I would say, to the 3 to 6 months cycles we're living in today. And through the diversity in the hybrid platform that we are able to offer our shippers today.
Well, thank you, Gianni, for giving us a glimpse into the future, but also for explaining time sensitive and time critical freight, and how Redspher is tackling the challenges. Thank you very much for being on the show.
Thank you for having me, Martin. It's been a great pleasure.
Thank you for listening to Does Logistics Matter? For more on trends and innovations in supply chain and logistics, visit our blog on logisticsmatter.com. If you want to be a guest on this podcast, please send an email to podcast@logisticsmatter.com. This podcast was produced by Dimitry Vleugel. The music is based on a sample by Ragaman and produced by Michael Spengler. This episode was supported by Redspher. Redspher has over 40 years of experience in handling time-sensitive shipments throughout Europe and beyond. The company offers digital tools for both shippers and carriers to easily find, book and track solutions for time-sensitive shipments. For more information, please visit redspher.com. That's redspher.com.